What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Lou Reviews, your destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. If you've been here before, you know what to do. If you've never been here before, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, that whole spiel. Links in the description. You know what to do. Today, we're going to be discussing James Fox, in my opinion, taking advantage of a mentally vulnerable adult, just to sell a movie. And we're going to go over why we think that. Travis Taylor calls out Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, which is kind of fun. And interacts with Paranormal Chris, which was cool. And a former member of the UAPTF comes out and describes what he thinks is going on with this whole UFO drone discussion that's been going on since 2017. So let's get into it. First, I want to welcome everyone to the show. Blaster Axe, Pat Calabria, Simon Fly, Jimmy Chakowski, and Tropic Horizon. By the way, Blaster Axe, member of the channel. Drummer 3354, good evening to you. Bobby Broadway, Game Over, which kind of coincides with this comment from Gary and the Dino Show. Sans is going to be the real end of Fox. I mean, do you guys think so? I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, we've seen this thing before, I think. But we shall see. Another member of the channel, Compliziard. What is shaking, my dude? What is shaking? Wes H. Welcome to the show. And hides in long grass. All right, let's get it. Let's get into what we're going to be covering today. Let's switch to our Lou Reviews thingamabobber here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Just going to unbookmark that. Oh, man. Wish I had like a pause button. I do, but anyway, whatever. Don't want to get into it. Okay. So, I put together a little edit of the Jason Sands space. If you don't know, again, in this UFO sort of community, obviously social media plays a huge part into it. X seems to be one of the biggest platforms, in Facebook, with a couple others, I'm sure. I'm sure every platform has an element of ufology in it. But Twitter is a place in particular where people can hold these spaces and talk to one another. And sometimes you'll get, oh, yo, what up? Thanks for gifting a membership there, Blaster Axe. Appreciate it. It was gifted to Jimmy Chakowski. You're welcome, Jimmy Chakowski. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Oh, my.
There you go. There's your little GIF that pops up when you make a donation. GIFs change as the donations go up in value. That's another fun thing. Okay. So I put together, I listened in on this space post. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I was at a rehearsal for a show here in LA, and so I missed this discussion. And all these, every time there's a cool, like a discussion like this, I'm always like going to work or something, or have a show or rehearsal. But anyway, that's a good thing. It's honestly. Okay, so I re-listened to this, and I didn't clip everything because the whole space is, you know, I think it was like 3 hours long, and I listened to it like twice. You know, on a 2 times the speed playback. And I found 12 minutes, I believe it's 12 minutes and 40 something, 50 something seconds, 53 seconds, I think, of moments from this Jason Sands interview that go to the absolutely unhinged. The thing about this, and I guess maybe I should preface this with this tweet right here that I've got pulled up. Man, I hate that Twitter does that. I'll just leave it right here and I'll read to you. You guys can see it. It's pretty big. But let's read the whole tweet. Gosh darn it. So people have been giving James Fox a lot of shit over this film and the claims coming out of Jason Sands. And one guy wrote here in a post for his movie, I think his movie, no, this is a discussion with members Senate Armed Services Committee describes secret meetings, allegedly. We'll post the full 3-hour link later. Listen to this 2 minutes. Okay. So someone asked him, what about Jason Sands claiming he assassinated non-human intelligence? Aliens. If you don't know, that's the new acronym for aliens. I think there's a pretty damn good reason why this is being pushed, especially by this, by lawmakers, by people who speak to lawmakers, like the whistleblowers that we have, Dave Grush and yada, yada, yada. The list goes on. All of these people who push the acronym NHI, non-human intelligence, walk away. Just absolutely walk away from. It's just an acronym that just, so they don't have to say aliens in Congress, so they don't have to sound cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They can slip in, and that's what they did with UFOs. They changed it to UAPs. And with a majority of people going, oh my God, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, and then the actual majority going, what the fuck is a UAP? Right? So when they talk about that it's in Congress, they can imply and infer that UAP means aliens, extraterrestrials coming into our atmosphere and interacting with humans. Right? They're implying that. And it's the same thing with NHI. They're implying aliens. So when they do go to speak in front of lawmakers in congressional hearings or meetings, they can use these acronyms and feel safe that they're not going to sound crazy. But it's also, I think, part of it is it's easier to sell. It's just an easier thing to sell. So James Fox replies to this. Again, I'll read the question again because I just have my thoughts about this. NHI. I just want to make sure the audience knows what we're talking about. What about Jason Sands claiming he assassinated aliens? Absolutely devastates his credibility, says James Fox. But I still believe that encounter may have happened based on the background digging I did. But yeah, that's not good for his credibility. And the reason why we have to preface this 12 minutes of audio with this is because normal everyday schmoes and also veterans that were in this space, and that's really what I focused on, because it's one thing for me to give Jason Sands shit, and for me who's never served a day in his life and who says, thank you, Jason Sands, for your service, but I still think you're way wrong and or lying about your claims of killing aliens. But when veterans do it, guys who've been in these positions are calling him out on this. To me, that's really sticks out. And for me, there had been other spaces leading up to this audio right here. And I'm pretty sure we've covered those other spaces on this show, where I've asked, just me, a regular schmo, has asked very simple questions about his claims, and he got really angry. Really, really angry. But and then this audio, you'll hear how the aliens have this message of peace, love, and light. There's a lot of crazy claims made in this. And this is just a public space. And it's very clear to the people asking him questions, including, I believe, either 3 to 4 veterans in this space, at least for sure 2. 2 other guys just got so pissed off they just left at the things that he was saying. But yeah, it's incredible to me that James Fox can just easily take this guy and shove him under the bus by saying, yeah, absolutely destroys it, devastates his credibility. But I still believe his encounter may have happened based on his background digging I did. But yeah, it's not good for his credibility. Says it twice. Like, if we, the schmoes, can get out of him that these things clearly don't line up, the designations, the positions, the timeline of his career do not add up with him putting alien-made pistols to the guns of crab people and blowing their brains out. To me, that's not a devastation of his credibility, James Fox. That is a devastation of your credibility. Because if we can get these answers out of him, and we can clearly, as the audience and the people asking him the questions and interacting with him, kind of like a sham filmmaker, like, we could come to the conclusions easily from this audio, and you could go listen to the whole thing. You're more than welcome to. But to me, this is the only audio you need from Jason Sands. So, my biggest thing with this whole week has been, it shouldn't be Jason Sands getting the public lashing in front of, the kingdom of fucking morons. It should be James Fox. Like, none of his films, especially from here going forward, personally, I think you could go almost all the way back, if not his whole filmography, and just toss it out. It doesn't mean anything. There are not one thing that he has documented on as a documentary filmmaker. Not one thing has struck a chord with science or the general population or anyone that is, like, none of his films have inspired anyone to come forward. Like, it's just, they're fan fiction films. Complizzier, thank you so much for the donation. Says Sands and Fox BS is so shit. They had to, it's just a big pile of shit that they had to build, and I get that. Like, it is. It's this film is the cherry on top of the filmography of James Fox, and if you want to think that's a pile of shit, okay, I happen to agree with that. Like, I agree with that. And then James goes on to say, and then after this, I swear I'll play this audio. James goes on to say, you guys feel free to criticize me all you want. I did my best to vet him and his alleged encounter. And I guess, you know what, like we'll read this again also after the audio. What happens after that? Perhaps PTSD or potential mental illness from his service to this country is anyone's guess. We are all human. We make mistakes, but that doesn't take away my belief. My belief, man. You should highlight that, underline it, bold it, italicize it, capitalize it, and fucking, however other way you could emphasize belief that his claim encounter happened. Can I prove it? ... No. I love how he leaves this but he leaves room. It's like that fucking Jim Carrey meme, man, from Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. I know I can't prove it, ... Right? But I have to say no. But one can only hope that my reporting on it would encourage other folks that were reportedly there to either confirm or deny his claims. And that, my friends, is all we can do. Well, if you can't get anyone, you can't look, first of all, it's not reporting because you didn't corroborate anything. And I think this is what upsets me, is you guys could call yourselves fucking journalists and documentary filmmakers that that all of you combined have won this many awards at a major film festival. And I know that's what you guys are aiming for, because at major film festivals, that's where you get the distributors, the big ones, especially at Sundance or South by Southwest. There's no reason, if this movie was seriously important, it would be at South by Southwest. It's the perfect flick for it. But you didn't corroborate anything. You didn't do any actual journalism or reporting. You're just putting a camera in front of what you admit here is perhaps PTSD or potential mental illness from his service to this country. So you don't have any colleagues, friends, family, or anyone that could corroborate this man's story when it comes to shooting aliens in the head. But you can use him as the linchpin of your film. The witness that proves the program is real. That's the name of your fucking movie, man. It's a slap in the face to anyone that has a modicum of intelligence. And it just pisses me off because these are the kinds of movies people spent $20 on this flick. Right? Not to mention all of his other movies. These kinds of witnesses are in these spaces manipulating believers and shoving them deeper down a rabbit hole of conspiracy and non-critical thinking. That's what upsets me. It's frustrating. Because there are other elements of this issue that are really right now, for me, the drone issue is very fascinating. Very fascinating. And we had a fun conversation with Steve Long about him on Monday. And there's other technologies that exist right now that humans have made that you should be geeking out about. But instead, you want to lean into the mysticism. It's like everybody wants to go back to the medieval ages, where the guys who just figured out when the solar eclipse are coming, are that was the medieval ages. But you understand what I'm saying. They just have a little bit more knowledge than most of these folks, and they can just make shit up. It's just there's no proof. There's no proof of any of these things. But it's magical, it's mysterious, it's fun. But meanwhile, this guy There's clearly something wrong with him. But now he's got a sense of importance, and now you have cemented that story in his head as now 100% real, because he could take this movie and he could slap it on the desk of the people who've doubted him in his personal life and go, you see, I told you it was real. And then they watch the movie and they were like, well, they didn't show shit. They didn't have any documents that confirmed the claims, not where he worked, what he did. And he did those things. That's the wild part here, is he did where he worked, he worked. Where he was when he said he was there. But then he starts adding all of these other things. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant and I haven't played the audio. So let's play this audio. I'm just gonna play the audio. I'm not gonna show you guys the space here, because apparently it's just keeps popping back over here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, anyway, just don't want to show the icons of anyone on my stream. But what you'll hear mostly is people asking questions from Jason Sands, and Jason Sands answering these questions. So here we go.
Approach you with killing aliens. Like, how did that all come about?
Well, like I was saying, this was kind of a punishment for me, because they were going to do worse to me than make me do this mercenary work. But it was because I had fucked up and broke the rules and brought my wife and kids on a mission to go to the zoo over the weekend, and they looked on that as if it was the biggest fuck up in the world. And I just thought, well, if I can't have a wife and kids, I definitely don't care if you kick me out or not, and I thought that's all it was. But they came out of turning in my badge, and they looked like really grave, like they had just suffered a really heavy butt chewing or something. And that's when I found out that they were actually going to kill me that day and bury my ass in the desert, probably. But,
so he's talking about his time in the military. He was in the military. He took his family to the zoo on a mission. So he was doing a mission and went to the zoo with the family. Okay. Maybe it's true. Who knows? But then to go from, yeah, that's a major fuck up, we're going to kill you? Let's kill him. Until his friend comes in and goes, oh, no, don't kill him. Don't kill him. Let's make him do something else to prove that he wants to protect his family. He loves his family so much, let's make him do something horrific. Listen to the rest of this.
My friends had convinced them, is there any other way? And I think that's what they did, is my friends saved my life that day by making me do this mercenary work. And giving me a fighting chance to survive out of it. So it was kind of a kindness on their part, but it still sucked really bad. But in Germany, yeah, I used to hang out with some really rough and tough guys as well. And that might have caught wind with some of the people.
And by the way, I have to say, this is an edited, again, like I obviously edited it down from 3.5 hours to, just over 12 minutes, 13 minutes. So some of these clips are going to go into each other. This is one of them. This Germany clip is a whole new thing. This is just him talking about rolling with some pretty bad dudes in Germany. So this is a whole new story here.
I did have my martial arts background. And they were kind of grooming me, or not grooming me, but actually watching me, I think, for a good while before they invited me into the program.
Okay, so, sorry, I have to go back just a little bit because I want to re-listen to that, because this is just such an interesting story of his time in Germany.
But it still sucked really bad. But in Germany, yeah, I used to hang out with some really rough and tough guys as well. And that might have caught wind with some of the people as well, that, I did have my martial arts background. And they were kind of grooming me, or not grooming me, but actually watching me, I think, for a good while before they invited me into the program. I can read through them for some reason and just once close the book, hand the book to somebody else, and I can answer them to 97% accuracy. And I did that in front of them one day. and I think they're like, oh, he's got a good memory too. Yeah, let's get him on the program.
So again, edited. He's basically saying I was in Germany rolling with some bad dudes, and sorry, I just heard something else. In Germany, rolling with some bad dudes. They had caught wind of me. They started to groom me because of my martial arts skills. They knew I was a martial art master. So they brought me in. They started to train me. And then I had a manual that they gave me, many manuals, and I read them over once and was able to pass it along because my memory is so good, and that impressed them. So that's why they brought me into the program. But once I was in the program, I took my family to the zoo, and then they wanted to kill me. Like, in what world does that make sense? Now, this is edited, but nothing is out of order. It's in the order in which he said it, as far as this part of the interview. Absolutely wild. Like, I can hear that right now as a reporter, as a journalist, as an investigative filmmaker, as a documentary filmmaker, as just a fucking weekend filmmaker, hobby filmmaker, or just average, everyday dum-dum like me. And hear those things and go, whew, those don't line up. But let's continue.
So my last thing here is like, I just want you to, I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm an Air Force
Yep.
veteran, and there's other people in here that are veterans as well. I've been in the circles that you're talking
Okay.
about, and Jason, I'm just going to be completely blunt and
Yep.
honest. There's a lot of stuff that you're telling people that's not true, and I know.
Well, what did I say that's not
As a
true?
matter of fact, so signals intelligence, like your career
Yes.
field, the things that you're stating is not true. It's not true. Yeah, so you guys aren't going out in the field and doing missions where you're carrying weapons and doing assassinations. That is nothing that you
No.
guys do. And it's not. You're talking about this program, then that means that it's not a real program, because you know, signing an NDA, you know that if you're part of a program, you sign an NDA, you can't talk about it or acknowledge it. And maybe it'll come out in the future, because I really do think that it's, as an Air Force veteran myself, you're doing us a disservice by saying things like this that's not true, and it frustrates me to
Well,
no
I
end,
agree that the
because
program didn't run things like the proper.
Now listen to this. The answer to this, and it's crazy to me that James Fox doesn't have somebody like another veteran to check him on these positions, these jobs, these offices that they work in, and he listened to the stories and be able to call them out immediately and whisper right there in real time and go, look, that office signals intelligence does not, they're not even allowed to carry guns. They're not allowed to carry out top secret clandestine missions with weapons. They don't do that. And this is an Air Force veteran. Again, this is Average Chris on Twitter. And he's an invaluable source when it comes to checking claims like this coming from veterans. And there's we'll get to it when we get to it, but I just have to make that 100% clear what he's saying. Like, you're making us look like a bunch of dicks right now. An Air Force veteran telling another veteran, you're making us look like a bunch of dicks right now. Please stop doing this. Listen to the answer that he gives.
Air Force. So in the proper Air Force, I
no end,
agree that
because
the program didn't run things like the proper Air Force. So in the proper Air Force, I would go out and do the things that you're talking about. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes for a normal career Air Force person. that's kind of how it rolls. And you've got all these little niche things that people don't get exposed to, that I think a lot of people like yourself, where you've just been doing, regular Air Force stuff. That was the idea, I think, that individual or that entity had in his mind. And then,
Okay, so he basically answers with, yeah, you're just doing regular Air Force stuff. I'm doing top secret. You're not allowed to know about Air Force stuff. And I'm doing it from this office. And this other veteran's telling him, no, you're not. That's 100% bullshit, because I think Chris has worked in that office. If he hasn't, he definitely knows people who do. So it's bullshit. And this idea that there's regular Air Force and the program Air Force, no, because if there was, let's just say for a second, there was, just like Chris said, there's an NDA you have to sign, a non-disclosure agreement, if you're not familiar with that acronym. And when you sign that, it's, I'm sure, a lifetime agreement if you're ushered into the program. And this jerk off is in a Twitter space talking about it with James Fox, the film maker. And I use that loosely for my podcast, folks. Quotes around that, film maker. It's really just a copy and paste of the last movie he did. I mean, what's hilarious about these two movies is after he makes this one, he has a public outcry for it. If anyone inside the program wants to come forward, please consider coming to me. Like, so therefore, again, telling you that he didn't verify any of this bullshit. And if there's anybody who can, please come forward. And then in the last movie, it was before the movie came out, he's like, I've got video evidence. I found the video of the Varhinya alien. I found it. And then we get the movie, and he's like, I have a $75,000 reward for the Varhinya alien tape. If anybody's got it, I've got a huge reward for you. No one has claimed that reward. It's copy and paste, man. Blaster Axe, thank you so much. Good to see you back in form, Lou. Thank you so much, dude, for the £5 note. Appreciate it. Sparky Pilot, our amazing mod. Thank you so much for being here. What is shaking, everybody? I see y'all. I know I'm on a rant here. Steve Long. Typical ufology excuse. Special circumstances which you can't prove/disprove. Usually, yes, you would be right, but in my super secret job, we did things differently. Trust me, bro. Yeah, it's all a big trust me, bro. And I just love it. Like regular Air Force, yeah, of course. All of those things you just said are normal, are right. All of those things you said are right when you're in the regular Air Force. When you're just in the Air Force. Yeah. I was in Air Force plus, like a streaming app or some shit. Like, who in the fuck would believe this nonsense? Let me tell you who. A guy who calls himself a filmmaker, charges you $20, puts him on film, and says he's credible, only to find out before he even puts the film out, this guy is totally not credible. And that's the other thing. People were yelling at him for months because this guy was in Spaces again. Like I said at the top of the show, this guy's been doing Spaces for a little while now. And people have been saying before the release of this film to James Fox, he's very aware of, hey, this guy's crazy. Like, don't put this guy in your movie. I hope you haven't put this guy in your movie. Did you put this guy in your movie? And I think the answer they got back was like, yeah, he's kind of the cornerstone of the program. I don't have a movie without him. And it's true. And James Fox said, in my opinion, at some point in his brain, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm just gonna go full send on this one. I'm not gonna verify a fucking thing, baby. Go! Full send, Jason Sands, reptilians, crab people shot in the face. Let's continue.
This is the hard part, but
This is
they
the
had
hard part.
kids in there too, and he killed some of them. He literally tore them in half. But
Thank you, Jason. I'm sorry. I was just curious, and I really appreciate you.
I'm sorry. I just keep seeing that kid's face and his eyes as he was dying. I just can't. It was hard for me because I had kids of my own, and I just thought this is not something that should be going on at all.
Okay, so just to be clear, he's talking about, and I also want to touch on something he just said. To be clear, he's talking about aliens in a cave that had children in this cave. They held them captive, and they were screaming and yelling. And one of these aliens took one of these kids and ripped them in half. And Jason Sands saw it. He saw the eyes of this dying child. And clearly it's affecting him. Like, it's emotionally affecting him. I believe he believes that is real. That's the story he gives James Fox. And he's like, yep, I'm going to make this guy the cornerstone of my movie. And the one thing he said there that stuck out to me was, he's like, I mean, let's just rewind and play it.
Facing his eyes as he was dying. I just can't. It was hard for me because I had kids.
I had kids. He says it a few times. A few times in this space. I had kids. Past tense. I am so curious as to what that means. Does that mean he had kids? They grew up, they went away, and they don't talk to dad much anymore? Does that mean the kids died potentially in a way where he saw it and he saw their faces and he describes this, you know, like somebody, it's, what does that mean? I had kids. I can understand if it was like a slip of the tongue once, but he says it multiple times. And I caught, I think, 2 or 3 of them where he says it. And I'm wondering if he's linking that actual trauma to aliens ripping kids in half in a cave that we'll find out here in a little bit was cold, but also had palm trees. Like a beach or a jungle. But then, no, wait, it wasn't that. Anyway, you'll hear it.
Of my own, and I just thought this is not something that should be going on at all. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to lose it like that.
Wait a minute. Who killed the kid?
And I love this. I don't love it. But I love that Chris immediately pops in. And by the way, I think Chris was at the gym. I had to bump his audio up in this clip. Pretty sure he was at the gym getting his fucking lift in. Good for you, Chris. So if it's hard to hear him, I apologize. I just want to preface that. But I love that Chris chimes in and was like, wait a second, who killed the kid?
Alien did. One of the aliens, because there were a couple of them in the first cavern. One of them got away. and started to kill some of the humans in this other cavern that was adjacent to the first. I remember there being, like I said, very, very cold. The trees, to me, it felt like it was kind of like, I don't know how to put it. I can't really, I think it was like a jungle or something. I don't know. It could have been, no, it couldn't have been a jungle because it was wintertime there. It was just cold.
Oh,
No, all I remember is that cavern entrance. I got out of the helicopter, and that was it. I just jumped out with the rest of the guys, and we just started running towards the cavern entrance.
Wait a minute. So you don't know like what state, do you know what country you were in?
They never told us that. They literally would wake us up en route to wherever we were going. That was the way it was.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate. All right, so we got you've killed 3 aliens.
Yeah.
One, like 2 in one place,
Yeah.
1 in another, and you don't know where the location is.
Well, I know where
And
the
then-
other one was.
and
I
then,
know where
like,
one of them was, definitely on the Nellis test range. That was the one that was in the prison cell, and that was in the S2 area of Nellis test range.
Okay, so one of them was at least at
Yeah.
Nellis, and then there was a cavern somewhere where an alien got loose and killed a kid.
Well,
Correct?
there was more than, there were men, women, and children in that cavern. There was probably about,
Why were there children in the cavern?
I
I'm just
thought that
asking.
perhaps that these beings, these NHI, were going to take these people and abduct them and do whatever they felt like to them, and that these people were being held against their will. They all looked very fearful when we came into the cavern, and they were screaming because this thing was trying to hurt them and kill them. And yeah, it was just a horrible mess.
All right, so you grabbed a gun, or you were given a gun that you can't really identify, and you used the gun to kill the
Yeah.
alien, right?
Yep. They want you to be the best you can be, and that they know you can be.
so that's a story. They gave me a gun, and this is, again, I had to edit this down because a lot of this was just so long-winded. But they gave him a still, like, standard issue gun that they take at the end of every mission. Weird. But it's an alien rifle, as he describes it. An alien fucking rifle. And he doesn't, and that's it. That's all he gives you. He doesn't give you a description, what it looks like, what it shoots, like none of that stuff. All he said is just, it doesn't have recoil. It's like, dude, so you don't know where you are. You don't know the weather. Like, you don't know the weather. You can't even remember the weather correctly. And then you just throw that away. It's, personally, I think they're well, whatever. It doesn't matter what I think because I'm not a clinical psychologist, but something's not right. Something's not right. Something's not right. I was in a cave. There were people in there. They were screaming. There was an adjacent cave with other people and other aliens. One of them got away. I killed one of them there. I killed another one at the Nellis Air Force Range. And the reason why they're asking the specifics of these is because people asked him in the space, like, hey, how many aliens have you killed? He's like, oh, man, a few. And everybody's like, what? You can't, like, you don't know? You don't know? It's insane. It's insane. He answers 3, and then in this conversation he gets the 4. It's wild, dude. All right, so this is the part where he tells everybody how the aliens want us to be better, be more loving, and be more love and light, and all the typical alien message. Take care of your planet. It's love and light. You gotta stop fighting wars. Like the whole like. Why can't these fucking aliens give that message to the world leaders instead of some schmuck It's never, hey, we're an alien intelligence. Why don't we give a message to all of the world leaders at once and talk to them telepathically and say, hey, clean up your fucking act. Stop dropping nukes. Stop fighting wars. We're going to be back in 20 years, and if you don't get your shit together by then, we're going to kill all of you. Like if they really wanted world peace, I'd maybe not even do it to the world leaders, do it for the whole fucking planet. So that way there's no question about it. No. Why would they do that? They're just going to handpick a couple of idiots here and there, some schmoes here and there. They're going to rip the asses and lips off of cows instead of reveal themselves. They're going to appear as drones that are really airplanes. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't think I could say that enough. But hey, let's listen to what the aliens' message is for us.
Yep. They want you to be the best you can be, and that they know you can do better. And that's really what the problem is, that we're standing here fussing over every day, and even in politics, is the corruption, the crime, the awfulness, even on social media, the stupidities that we get into, the hurt we do to others. I mean, out of all the creatures on earth, we have words and communication with each other, and we have the power to break people. We have the power to also love people and encourage them. And I would beg you, as my message to you, is that try to always love and heal rather than tear down and destroy. And that's really what it is.
Yeah, but how could you say that about the NHI or aliens when you just told everybody that they ripped a kid in half?
But that's
Like,
just one faction of the NHI. They're the ones that are the problem children. You got to understand, think about it logically. If there is other intelligent life out there, they have the same problems we do. I was being asked to eliminate and exterminate the nasty ones out of our society.
He was asked to eliminate the nasty ones out of our society. In what world does the Air Force hire mercenaries to assassinate aliens? And how do you know you're assassinating the right aliens? Maybe they're pissed off at you because they know you're about to kill them. And what if you kill one who happens to be the son of a very important alien on the president of the aliens or whatever? Like, how do you know you're not starting an intergalactic war or ending of our planet? It's wild. Absolutely wild.
Of our world. That's what I was doing for the program.
So he's an intergalactic space cop, basically. It's his. We like. It's. This guy thinks that he is. He is the layer between alien chaos and your everyday life. That's the war he fought every day as one of these people. And yeah, like, it's funny, dude. Like, he's like, oh, we would wake up en route to these missions. So my memory's fuzzy. Who the fuck wants people waking up from a drugging, give them alien weapons and go, all right, go kill them aliens for us, buddy. We'll send up the cleanup crew after you guys. Get in there. Get in there. Don't worry where you're at. We're not going to tell you. It's top secret. You're in the program. We drug our soldiers. We drug our super soldiers and wake them up 10 minutes before they get to their destination. Fucking give them all the information they need for their mission and then just throw them out there to kill aliens. Call us when you're done. We'll come back and pick you up.
Not gonna hog up any more time. What I will say, man, is that like as a veteran,
There's another veteran.
Dude, it's really hard for me not to be like I'm not like this is not. It's a bad situation for you too. Like putting myself into your shoes, it's like either way, either you're an intergalactic murderer, like an intergalactic war criminal, or you're lying and you're disgracing everybody that's put on the uniform, that served people, that every veteran you're spitting in the face of. So either way, man, it's just I can empathize with you from that perspective, as in you're in a tough situation. But man, dude, if it's ever proven that you're lying, man, like, I mean, dude, like just shame on you. If it's I'm like, just shame on you, man. Cause like, it's really dishonoring. It's dishonoring everybody that has came before us and everybody that has given their life. Okay. And I've had friends that lost their life, okay, overseas. And like, to have you running around making people think that there's soldiers out there that are mindless murderers, because that's the exact opposite of the people that I serve.
I keep calling him a mindless murderer, but that is not what he described. So I wish you would.
It is what he describes. The reason why he had to go kill an alien was because he took his family to the zoo on a mission. He got in trouble and they were going to kill him for that. And his other colleague jumped in and said, no, don't kill him. I've got the perfect mission for him to redeem himself. Let's drug him, put him on a helicopter, and tell him to kill these goddamn aliens that we've got in the caves over there in the tropical Iceland. That's what we're going to do. And then he goes in there, sees kids ripped in half, and then that justifies him to blow their brains out. And that's just one of the stories. There's other stories as well. Like, that's how he describes himself. And it would be an intergalactic war criminal. Like, seriously. He'd at least be put before a jury and a judge of some intergalactic judicial system, if it existed, and they wanted justice for a clear misunderstanding.
Stop calling him that.
Well, I mean,
and you're talking about,
dude,
the things that
you're just.
All right, look, it's
I don't believe you. Is what I'm saying, and I'm gonna
no
step
different
down.
than a special forces guy being told this is your target, take him out. That's all I did. I did.
I'm
what
telling
I was
you
told
that
to do.
I think that you're lying.
To do.
Okay, I don't believe you at all, and I'm a veteran. I serve not in special forces. And shame on you, man. Shame on you.
Well,
I wish you the best, though. Take care.
Okay, yeah. Wish you.
I mean, that is the most subdued answer you get, or response to this from a veteran that I've heard. And I think he was holding back big time. And he's right. Like, if you're lying, it's a disgrace to it's a disgrace to all of it, to all the entire military, the people who came before us, the people who serve after us. It just disgraces everything. It puts mud on it, on the uniform, and on the heritage, and on the culture. Like, it's insanely offensive. And that's coming from a veteran who was in special forces, who lost people. And again, like, maybe he's making that up, but I don't think so. I don't think so. And just like I don't think Jason Sands is making up his service record. I just think he's making up everything else around it, and that's the difference. Like, why do I need to vet people that aren't making claims? Like, I want to vet the people who are making the big claims. That's who I want to vet. So, man, I don't know, dude. It's wild. But, you know, he's saying like, oh, I was in special forces. He's like, no, I was in special forces. And I'm telling you, like, shame on you. Shame on you. But it gets really bad here in a second.
Those two things.
I could tell you that the fact that you are coming on here and you're saying these things, and you're saying you ran these special missions, contradicts everything that I've ever been exposed to by JSOC and special
Well,
forces.
there's been a number of people that took out Osama bin Laden. They described in gory detail how they took out people and killed them.
Fuck you. I'm off this panel. Fuck you. Don't compare yourself to those guys ever.
Yeah, I know. That's
you
what I'm
fucking
telling you.
piece of
I'm
shit.
not
I'm off
saying
this
I am.
I don't know some drone, but the way he responds to this sounds like he might have been a veteran. Like, to sit there and compare yourself, like, the actions I did are just as justified as those who killed Osama bin Laden. Yeah, I can see how that would piss a veteran off, especially.
Panel.
I'm not
Fuck
saying
you.
I am a
Fuck you.
guy.
Go drive.
And then he got kicked off.
So this is what happens right here when you get veterans, people that served, that know this stuff in the space, because they can read through bullshit. I'm leaving this space because this is ridiculous. And I just want people to realize, like, when you see veterans calling out somebody that claims these things, that claims to be a veteran, listen to them, because we're not just all crazy. We know how this thing works, and the things that Jason has been saying is not how the military operates. We're trying to tell you that, like, that's not how it works, Jason. Like, that's not special forces alone. The things you're claiming, there is an extreme process that you have to go through, and it's the tip of the spear to even get involved in the things that
I
you're
get
even
it.
talking about.
I know you didn't work in the program like I did. I agree.
There is no program.
That is the most arrogant moment right there. That, I think, is the thing that makes me go, well, fuck Jason Sands. Fuck him. Like, I've got no empathy now for you. Like, because he's disgracing another veteran. And you can hear him sighing. Like, this guy just doesn't fucking get it. I was in the program and he wasn't. And he's jealous or whatever. Like, I'm going to tell him how it is right now. This is the answer that you give. Oh, shit.
That you have to go through, and it's the tip of the
hear that sigh?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. I get it. I know.
You didn't work in the program like I did.
You didn't work in the program like I did, so you wouldn't fucking know. So you wouldn't know. But yet, I could talk about it here. I could talk about it here in a Twitter space. Don't worry about my NDAs. Don't worry about it. Unbelievable.
I agree.
There is no program.
I agree.
And I mean, everyone in the room is like, what? Are you fucking serious right now? You dick. You dick. You arrogant prick. You could be a veteran and an arrogant prick at the same time. Those two things can exist in the same world.
You've got to understand that just because you're a veteran, you don't know everything that goes on at the Secretary of the Air Force and lower echelons. And I actually got read into other programs as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your
for being here
innocence is
tonight,
stable.
Yeah, and actually I got read into other programs as well. Now this clip here is surprisingly, it's got nothing to do with Jason Sands, but this is what happened. A few of the extreme believers who think they can trance you into some sort of, calm state where nothing but the truth comes out of your tongue. Like, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But this is, to me, this is the icing on the Jason Sands discussion, because to me, this is what he and James Fox are pushing deeper and deeper and deeper down a rabbit hole. And for what? Recognition, shitty fame, and a little bit of money? Okay. There's a shelf life for that shit. And I think, James, you just fucking hit it. with this shitty witness and arrogant person. People are tired of the copy and paste formula you've done. I've been tired of it for fucking years. And I've talked about it 3 years ago. Like your copy and paste formula, how your filmography has not grown in the least. You still use the same fucking narrator, for fuck's sake. Why don't you narrate your films? You're the reporter, right? You're the journalist. Narrate your story. For fuck's sake, he just tries to get celebrities and shit interested in these stupid, unverifiable, trust me, bro, fantasy lore horse shit in hopes of selling to Apple or Netflix or whoever the fuck buys this piece of shit. And just because Apple or Netflix buys it doesn't mean Apple or Netflix endorse what's in that movie. They're just looking for fucking content. It's a joke. It's a joke. Ufology is a content I've learned, I guess, here in the hard way, and it just sucks because it always sucks when you kind of come to these realizations. But yeah, like it's just it's all trust me, bro, and content. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. It's just a dangling carrot, which, by the way, brings me, I mean, well, I don't even know if we're done with Fox yet, but it is a good segue into this meme right here from Fettuccine Split, because it's a reply from Lou Elizondo. Saying, this is a tweet he posted. It's always darkest before the light. Hang in there, brother. Oh shit. You know what? Let me end on this unhinged moment from the Twitter space. Yeah, because this was crazy. Just listen to this.
Really appreciate it, Jason. I was so glad you were able to come out tonight.
Yep.
I need you to just stabilize your innocence cord. That's all. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of crazy
Shane,
shit going
are
on.
you going to let this go on, Shane?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to. Because I'm the one that's holding him there, making him talk right now. So
Are you really going to make this about you right now, Gaia?
Andra, yeah, it is about me, bitch. Shut the fuck up, or I will bring Hella in here, cunt.
Oh, God.
It's a hilarious moment, but it's also like, it's just a little flash of the real underbelly of this community. That moment right there is my theory, my belief. My belief is the right thing. I just stabilized his innocence cord. Yeah, I'm gonna make this about me, you bitch. And I'm gonna fucking bring Hella with me, you cunt. Like, she is summoning the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse to destroy this person. But I've got his innocence cord totally in check. What the fuck are you talking about? Absolutely batshit fucking nutty. But guess what? I put that in a script. Oh, fuck. Pure gold.
Talk right now. So
Are you really going to make this about you
Andra?
right now, Gaia?
Andra, yeah, it is about me, bitch. Shut the fuck up, or I will bring Hella in here, cunt.
Oh, God.
Even Jason Sands is like, oh, God.
Okay, so
And so that's the 12 minutes and 35 seconds that you need to completely understand the Jason Fox, or the Jason Fox. Yeah, sure, that'll work. Jason Sands, James Fox debacle. It is, to me, again, like, even as arrogant as Jason Sands is, there's clearly something wrong with him. Something's not working. James Fox, I don't understand how you did not notice that or see that during your journalism and reporting and editing, fucking hours of editing this guy's story over and over and over and over again, and cutting out, I'm sure, what doesn't work. I don't know, But if I had to take an educated guess, and in my opinion, you knew this guy was full of shit. 100% knew he was full of shit. But you didn't care. You didn't care. You just wanted to pump out that next fucking movie, baby. Oh, the drones are out now. It's perfect time. Let's go. Drones are, I'm sure, perfect time for your fucking film. I'm sure that drove up all sorts of sales. Shit, we got to watch this movie, The Program. Oh, man. Wow, what a mind bender. Didn't learn a fucking thing. Not one single fact. Nothing has changed. I mean, you said, someone said earlier in the chat, like, this has hit a shelf life. Or not, I said it hit a shelf life, but this is like, somebody said, like, this is the end of Fox. I would love to agree with that. But this community, honestly, is, I've been saying mentally unstable, mentally vulnerable. I'm sure a few other terms as well that just are other phrases to sum up how stupid it is. But I think mentally diseased might be the right term. Because it's a virus. It's almost like heroin. It's a drug. It's a disease. It's an addiction. UFOlogy. It's not a study. It's not a serious field or science. It is a fucking narcotic. It's a narcotic. And if you're not careful, and I'm not sitting here saying, well, no to the narcotic. Like, I think the narcotic's fun. I'll partake. But it's not my life. And I think what happens is most people overdose. And then the overdose is just the rabbit hole and the moment that we hear at the end of this conversation. You know, where they're able to stabilize innocence chords while calling somebody a cunt. That's, I mean, in a nutshell, that is this community. It really is. It really is, especially when you start stripping away with questions the belief and you start getting to the core of what really might have happened and it strikes too close a chord. That's when you see the lashing out similar to that. And I'm sure I've done it myself. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because you got too close to my belief system. Get out of my fucking face. But the difference, you know, obviously, again, with me and a lot of other people that went down this rabbit hole and are still in it, is some of them will go as far as to dox your family, dox you, you know, threaten you. In some cases, actually hurt people. There's another level to it. And so, you know, that's the danger of the addiction. Is it, in some people, compels them to do extreme things in order to reveal their truths. But it's disgusting. And I'll say this. This is where I'll end this whole James Fox thing for me, and then we'll move on to this tweet here. All of this shit that Ken Klippenstein got for simply reporting on the mental illness issues and alcohol abuse issues that David Grush did have and FOIA'd, and the clear indication that, hey, there's a lot of mental stress happening here. And here are the facts. How many people got so angry at the idea that you're exposing somebody with PTSD, you're exposing somebody with mental illness and trauma, you're exposing somebody that possibly might be autistic on the spectrum. Like, you're exposing this person with this reporting. Shame on you. The things that were said and done, and what people try to do to cancel and get Ken Klippenstein, arrested, fined, in trouble for simply doing what he would do with anybody making big claims. And then look at this James Fox movie and not do the same thing to James Fox. Because in this film, to me, he exposes someone with PTSD who's mentally vulnerable, possibly mentally autistic. And he is making him the cornerstone of this film, which then reinvigorates and establishes his belief is not now a belief, but a movie. It's a documentary, which cements him further in his madness. And people are like, oh, yay, I love this film. It's okay, James. We understand. You did your best to vet him. You said so yourself. It's disgusting. It's a genuine for me, it's a genuine example of taking advantage of someone for personal gain and not giving a shit about what the possible ramifications or consequences to throwing someone like that under the bus so quickly with the tweets you had about him, which are somewhere here. I lost them. You guys feel free to criticize me all you want, but I did my best to vet him. Yeah, again, we're going to read this again. We'll end it here, I swear. With all of that knowledge that you have, I'm going to go back and read this. You guys feel free to criticize me all you want. I did my best to vet him and his alleged encounter. What happens after that, perhaps PTSD or potential mental illness from his service to this country, is anyone's guess. We are all human. We make mistakes, but that doesn't take away my belief that his claimed encounter happened. Can I prove it? No. One can only hope that my reporting on it would encourage other folks that were reportedly there to either confirm or deny his beliefs, and that, my friends, is all we can do. I'm sorry. The thing that you could have done is corroborate, verify, and if you couldn't do those things, you shouldn't have made the fucking movie in the first place, James. You really should not have made the last two movies. But this one in particular is the most offensive. The most offensive one. And if I was going to rate it, I'd give it a 0 out of 10. And I've never given anything a 0 on this show. Grow up, not only as a person and as a mental just being on this planet, with like, just grow up common sense wise and grow up as a fucking filmmaker. Stop copying and pasting. Stop being a lazy bastard to fill your fucking pocket. Make a real movie. Maybe write a story. Write a fucking film. A fiction. A real fiction. Instead of this make-believe nonfiction. I don't know, man. Anyway. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Let's get to that Lou Elizondo quote, because it did segue. Again, it's like dangling the carrot. Okay. So disclosure meme. Well, we'll get to that schmuck in a second. So Lou Elizondo posted, "It's always darkest before the light. Hang in there, brother." And that was in response to like a person who wrote, "I think I'm pretty well versed on the UAP topic. 40 years of reading, studying, and persistent questioning has led me to realize the more I've learned, the less I actually know. All I've managed to do is come up with more questions until disclosure. We're in the dark," which Lou then replied, "It's always darkest before the light. Hang in there, brother." He retweeted it. Thank you, Complicit, for the donation. Randy Robb Haterly gave the program 3 thumbs up. Of course he did. Of course he did. What a schmuck. Thanks, brother. Hang in there. James, the Revelator, writes on Twitter, "There's the carrot again." And that triggered Lou. I love it. I love when he gets triggered. And let me just like that tweet. I love when he gets triggered. He writes back to the carrot guy. And 4D2 is James. Well, anyway. Lou Elizondo writes, "Fortunately, over the last 7 years, I have served you carrot stew, carrot salad, carrot soup, and an 8-course meal involving disclosure and new facts. I suggest if you don't like carrots, you can make your own meals from now on. You are too old, and it's not my job to make you dinner anymore." That is a ballsy statement, but to me, the ingredient is what sticks out the most. Carrot? I mean, again, this guy, counterintelligence guy. Okay, and that's just me putting it nicely. Counterintelligence guy telling you straight up, "I've been fucking dangling you carrots, stupid." It's a carrot. It just comes in. It comes in a stew. It comes in a salad. It comes in a soup. A stew and a soup, kind of the same thing, Lou. It's kind of like all of the 5 observables, and then an 8-course meal. So let me ask you something, and this is like the Felon 5 list. Fuck, again, this guy with fucking lists and commas. Like, I love it. I have served you carrot stew, carrot salad, carrot soup, again, kind of like carrot stew, and an 8-course meal. So does that mean it's a 9, 10, 11-course meal with the stew, salad, and soup? Or is the 3 of those included in the 8? Like the Felon 5? Which one is it? Is it an 11-course meal? Or is it an 8-course meal with those included? Because you wrote, comma, and. So to me, I am pulling from this that it's an 11-course meal. What do you guys think? 8 or 11-course meal? Just write 8 or 11 in the comments. Maybe we could settle this right now. I mean, man, this response is so close to the Felon 5 response. And an 8-course meal involving disclosure. Is disclosure the waiter? Is he the chef? Is disclosure the restaurant? Involving disclosure and new facts. Is this okay? So I would assume in the 11-course meal, disclosure and new facts are 2 of the courses. So we've got 5 courses of the 11-course meal: carrot stew, carrot salad, carrot soup, disclosure, and new facts. So we should have 8 more things, right? No. How many things should we have? Right, there's 11. 6 more things. 6 more things. Everybody's saying 11. Everybody. 2 people said 11. Really? Only 2 people answered? Come on, people. If you're watching the show, give me an answer. 8 or 11. Is this an 8 or an 11-course meal? We have Comma Gate 2 in real time, and we need answers. Okay? a lot of people fucking kind of went off on this post, but the one thing I found very interesting, Fettuccine Split, this is a guy who's publicly apologized already to me for the things that he's done to me personally, as far as targeting and harassment. And this is the guy that we talked about who met Lou Elizondo at Busch Gardens, and they've got a picture. He thinks they're friends. He does memes for him all the time. He's now called Disclosure Memes, right? Like this is his shtick now. Like he thinks everybody thinks 11-course meal. That's what I thought. 11-course meal. 11-course meal. I'm going 11. I agree, chat. I agree. See? 11. Archangel Reese. Daryl Cobb says 11. Mama's Dope Boy, 11. Brad Harris, 11. Armad, Sparky Pilot, 11. Lou Elizondo, do you like my tweets? Fake Lou is here. I love it. He must have heard us talking about him. Terminator X says 8. You're the only one who says 8. You're basically the Rob Heatherly of this chat right now, Tixinator. Man, if you're first time here to this channel, there's so many things that you're just not getting right now. If you really have no idea what the hell's going on. Now I become death. 11, 11. 111. Okay, so Disclosure Memes makes a meme of Lou sitting in front of a huge bowl of soup with sliced up carrots, and then there's whole carrots in this soup or stew. Which one is it? Is it the stew or the soup that we're looking at here? Disclosure dick. Like, is it the soup or the stew? I don't know. This looks like a carrot stew to me. Yeah, carrot stew, because this whole sliced carrots, and fuck, this carrot stew is gonna suck hard. I mean, the carrot stew, who the fuck serves that? Anyway, the whole carrots in this carrot stew spell out fuck you. As if, this is, if you don't like the carrot stew, I'm serving you. If you don't like the carrot I've been dangling in front of your fucking face for the last 7 years, fuck you. Go eat somebody else's meal. Go to a different Disclosure restaurant, jerkwad. I hear George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell are serving up some delicious bullshit. Maybe you could go check out their fucking restaurant. Their restaurant is Napalm in the Morning. Or Weaponized. I think Weaponized would be a great name for a restaurant. But Napalm in the Morning also not too shabby. A little long, but with the right word of mouth, who knows? See, kicking back with a fine cognac and expensive Cubans for my Christmas friends. Had a good year. #1 best-selling book, sellout tours, you name it. Made a big bank this year. New book next year and a big film coming. I believe it, baby. Both of you and me might have films coming out next year. So maybe we'll be competing for the same festivals. Who knows? Okay, so yeah, that's the Lou Elizondo nonsense. I basically wrote, it takes a lot of, what did I write here? This is a hell of a quote, considering this guy's been dangling carrots for the mindless meals of UFOlogy since 2017. Like, I don't know how you Rob Heatherly and don't take offense to that quote. Or Thomas Fester be like, what the fuck you mean dangling a carrot? It's this 8 to 11 course meal of carrots. And first of all, I've never been to a restaurant that does an 8 to 11 course meal. What fucking restaurants are you going to? Because when you came to my restaurant, it wasn't an 8 to 11 course meal. You barely ate, as a matter of fact. But, it was like 2 courses, I think. We had some starters and then the mains. This dude doing 11 course meals. Fuck. Anyway. I love what Charlie Weiser said here about James Fox. Fox appears to have no idea how damaging this tweet could be to Sand's clearly fragile mental health. You platformed him. Now you publicly betray him. He was talking about fighting aliens months ago, but you left him in your film and fed him to the wolves. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I mean, Average Chris writes, after James Fox writes, you guys feel free to criticize me all you want. That quote here with the PTSD and all that stuff. Chris wrote to that. He wrote, no, the problem here is respectfully the growing trend of UFO activists using people with military backgrounds with ignored mental health issues. See David Grush to help with the credibility of claims and stories. It stains the military, especially veterans, community, when they're used to a parade in front of a camera or Congress, and when they put their mental health issues on display to push a narrative of aliens. As a veteran, I'm growing very tired of this, and I'm deeply frustrated that we're being used to push a bullshit narrative based off of propaganda and a group of activists that use each other as anonymous, quote, sources. I mean, he's fucking right, dude. Like, it's gross. It's fucking gross, man. Let me see here. This is a clip of James Fox. Well, I don't want to play. This is a 12-minute clip. But if you guys want to watch this, Logan put it out. And it's just like they're talking about Jason Sands. I mean, let's listen to a little bit of it.
Yes.
The segment that included Jason's story was the most riveting of all of the riveting parts of the program, because all of it, start to finish, was really superb, James. But
Really
Jason
superb,
Sands, to me,
James.
just struck me as especially powerful. His story filled in a certain number of gaps that some of us, myself, had in thinking about Area 51, S4. But then there was just some vivid new stuff. I mean, this man stood face to face with an alien. That's certainly what it appears like. Allegedly. Well, I'd like to know what's your take on him?
Allegedly. Like, again, James is distancing himself from this. I'm sure in the program it's not like allegedly. Hey, by the way, guys, this is allegedly, right? I'm sure he didn't say that while he was interviewing Jason Sands.
And what was it like to talk with him? What was your sense? And could you recount a bit of his story for listeners if they haven't heard it?
Yeah. So I knew that I was going to get criticism, just including
Actually, I'm so happy I played this because, I think this is the interview where he reveals a few things in here. All right, let's try and listen to this as much as we can.
He did it anonymously. I was going to get criticism for including that alleged encounter in the film, right? It took place, again, allegedly in
he knew he was going to get shit because people had been giving him shit
in Nevada
months before this came out.
And what we do know is that there was a UFO sighting and captured on sensors.
On the famous clip.
Yeah, which I had, and that was 3 days prior. Well, 3 days later, Mr. Sands and a number of other fellow officers that we have their name first and last, I have, were on duty going in to perform a particular exercise near a mountain called Quartz Mountain. And they, early in the morning, again, winter, don't have an exact month. I'm not entirely sure. I tried to look back at that, but I knew it. But in any case, they see what looks like an individual that maybe had a plane crash, in uniform, walking funny, looking like, needs medical assistance. And they had a whole convoy of trucks. There was the lead vehicle was Jason Sands and 3 others. And then there was 2 vehicles behind them. They're slowing down to help this individual out. And as they roll up on this individual, one of the people within the truck convoy, the front truck, screams, "He's got no effing ears," as they rolled up on him. Mr. Sands claims that he got out the passenger side and came up on this individual, tried to take his jacket off and provide some warmth. And when he made eye contact, he said it was almost like a snake bite feeling that he got. That, what am I looking at? Was it some sort of mutant or whatever? And then this individual had no ears, had really big eyes, and was speaking gibberish and wasn't really making much sense. And everyone was just sort of paralyzed in just complete frozen as to what's going on right here. And now I accidentally right here in the studio behind me, I accidentally revealed a photograph on X about Mr. Sands' identity. I periodically post production stills and put them with updates and that sort of thing. And I did when there was a clipboard and somebody had written Sands on it. And that created a lot of controversy. And Mr. Sands at that point wasn't prepared to come forward publicly. He hadn't gone through the adoption process. I got a lot of heat for that. And I have nobody to blame but myself.
Heat because it just was an unauthorized kind of doxing of him, or
yeah,
he thought he was faking, or
I guess he's a so-called whistleblower. Behind the scenes, he was getting together, providing details on specific programs and some of the things that he was involved with during his military career, part of the legacy program. And so that was a whole kind of shit show. And I was like, I don't know. I wasn't sure what to do. And I was meeting with government officials that were part of the internal investigation into not just Mr. Sands, but a lot of other potential whistleblowers. This was going on behind the scenes. And so I was meeting with them and, I don't know, do I leave him in? Do I take him out? How do I deal with this? And they were like, look, I know he probably has PTSD and there's some mental health issues, but he is who he says he is. He's checks out. He's all of his, the programs that he's mentioned are highly classified programs that he knows the names of, and he served his country. And don't just throw him out. Like he's and that's what everybody was telling me.
That's what everybody was telling you? Who was telling you that?
There are attacks on his credibility. I'm not aware of this.
Yeah, so I'm
not aware of this.
Yeah, so I got his military records. I got photographs of him in the military. I had to contact his ex-wife. She had to go up into the attic and dig through a bunch of boxes, which I got all those.
So he's in the military.
Through some intel connection.
We learned here also that he's got an ex-wife. So I wonder if he lost the kids in a divorce. Because he kept saying he had kids. I'm curious. I'm just wondering I wonder if that's the source of the PTSD. I don't know. We don't know.
Connections I have, we found the individual who debriefed Mr. Sands along with a couple of other apparently witnesses to the incident. And that individual
apparently a couple of others. Apparently? Well, who are they? If they were witnesses to the incident, did they check out?
Would not even confirm or deny. It was like, kind of we're aware of the incident and no comment at all, one way or the other.
Oh, yeah,
and that was it. So I really went on a limb because I can't. I'm claiming a face-to-face meeting at Nellis with an alien, basically, right?
Yeah, he had an illustrator sketch of it, which was really quite powerful. The individual looked kind of like a human face, no ears, bluish tint to the skin, which he described.
And again, shit, damn it,
right?
Yeah, he had an illustrator sketch of it, which was really quite powerful. The individual looked kind of like a human face, no ears, bluish tint to the skin, which he described.
Okay, so what I was going to say here is this is what these guys do. When they're not talking to each other and they're being interviewed, they're serious journalists. When they're talking to each other about and critiquing each other on a film they made about facts and blue aliens with no ears and all of these claims that can't be verified by anybody, or if you do get somebody to verify, they don't verify one way or the other. He's basically saying, I was going to get a lot of shit for this because, it's bullshit. There's no way to verify it. Sure, he was in the military. Okay, big deal. A lot of people are in the military. Doesn't mean they killed aliens. It's a huge leap. And he fucking knows that. And this other journalist, this other investigator, this other cornerstone of ufology doesn't question any of this shit. He just goes, oh yeah, the sketch, super powerful, everything. Oh my God, wow, yeah. Well, James, hey man, people are going to say what they're going to say, but all you can do is just report, right? You could just report. I mean, he is who he says he is, so therefore we got to put him in the movie. Like, that's the fucking excuse. They don't give a fuck about this guy. They are literally like Charlie Weiser says, they're throwing him to the fucking wolves, which is shows like this, right? Like, because we're going to critique these people in these shows because we critique all of the bullshit that comes out of these productions or movies or spaces or whatever. It's not right. It's not fucking right. I think James Fox should be thrown to the fucking wolves. This film should be thrown to the wolves and torn apart by the wolves, but the wolves don't want to do it. They do this. They just suck the ass of James Fox. And then James Fox only does interviews with people who suck his ass or just don't know better. And they've got a ton of influence. Influential fucking dum-dum shows that do zero research on the guests that they have on their shows. Zero fucking research.
Yeah.
And larger than normal eyes. But otherwise, not like a gray alien, not like that. Actually, like a human.
Like a brand new alien.
I remember, there's been a couple of instances, I had people questioning, when I did Moment of Contact. I mean, I've got allegedly reporting on people witnessing live aliens walking through the town of Varginha, Brazil in, January 20th, 1996.
Yeah. And you said you had the video of it, and then you don't.
I was certainly opening myself up to criticism with that. No question. And I kind of pushed the envelope a little bit each time around, but I do the best I can with these military folks. I do the best I can within my means, and I worked on it for 8 or 9 months, and I ultimately decided to include that in the film.
I'm very glad you did.
Of course. I'm very glad you did, because now it gives me a whole bunch of different doors to open for content and discussions to link my research to. And I can interview Jason Sands, and we can really dive deep into the mystery. Oh, thank you so much, James Fox. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you put in a mentally vulnerable adult suffering from PTSD and trauma into your films that's, making up stories of shooting aliens in the face.
You kind of needed to, because, look, there are always folks in connected to this community who are going to shoot down every single new whistleblower or claim, particularly when it includes aliens. It's like, we're okay talking about this vague UAP phenomenon. Sure, okay, we don't know what that is, but aliens, get the hell out of here. And that's a really bad idea.
Why is that a bad idea?
Anomalous, we're talking about an anomalous intelligence. If it's an anomalous intelligence, they probably don't look like us. So let's just be a little brave, which you were. You included it, and I'm personally glad you did. And his story did not sound radically dissimilar to that of Charles Hall, who talked about the tall whites. The description, because I've read Charles Hall's books, and that's another out there type of series of claims. But I don't know. I read Charles Hall, and I believe this guy's telling the truth.
No, I remember I had a meeting with Robert Bigelow back in, I think it was 2009, 2010, and it was funny actually, because I
think this is the part right here. If it is, I'll obviously stop and talk about it. But I think this is the part right here that I found so interesting.
Just finished. Well, we did the National Press Club event in 2007 with Leslie Kane, and then I made a 2-hour special for the History Channel called "I Know What I Saw," which you were going to be in. But then the audio interview that we did in the park,
I remember.
Had whatever. Sorry. And so, but you're in Out of the Blue versions 1 and 2. So.
That was my first ever documentary interview.
They just love each other.
Bigelow, and actually, his secretary sent me an email message. I still have it, and she said, "Mr. Bigelow wants Mr. Fox. Mr. Bigelow would like to congratulate you on a job well done." And I said, "Oh," and he was referring to I Know What I Saw. It's like, "Oh, that's really nice. Would ever like to get together?" Blah blah. So, long story short, we had lunch. And we were talking, and he was talking about the politics of disclosure, the implications for, organized religion and financial institutions and all this stuff. And which really kind of, I don't know, I hadn't really thought of as much. And you wrote a book on it.
Please give me a break.
It was like,
I hadn't really thought of, but you had written a book on it, Richard. I never thought about it, but there were books about it. Yes, everybody's thought about the implications on economy, religion. Give me a break. He never thought about it.
Done some homework and put together, the intellectual heavyweights within the scientific community with NIDS and other efforts, and OSAP and ATIP. Well, ATIP at the time was still secret, as was probably OSAP. But in any case, he said to me, James, they're walking among us. And I said, and I'm not saying that I believe this or that I don't believe it. I don't know.
Yes,
he said to me unequivocally, they're walking among us. And he didn't say, I don't want you ever to say that out publicly or anything like that. Because had he done that, I probably wouldn't even reveal it. But he did say that to me. They are walking among us. They're here. And so I never really knew quite how to process that and whether I believed it or whether I didn't believe it. So I was inclined to report on.
I love how he's like, oh, I'm totally neutral. I don't know whether or not I believe it. I've just made 7 films about it. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not on the fence. You are clearly biased. And so is Richard Dolan here.
Alleged encounters because, I'm with the hope that other people that maybe could have been there. We have a rough date. We have a location. We have other names and witnesses. So maybe some more information will come out about that case. Maybe it'll come out like, you know what? The guy made it up and it's all a big hoax. I wouldn't have included it had I believed it was a hoax, but I can't be definitive on anything.
I love it. If it does prove to be a hoax, will you do a re-edit of the program and take him out of it? Just like you did with I Know What I Saw? Like you re-edit it and put Richard Dolan back into the 2 new versions of it? So why don't you go back and re-edit all the films you got wrong? Why don't we go do that? Nah, you go do that.
Be careful. I get it. Well, I'm glad you included him. I'm one of those people who also believes they walk among us. It's a personal belief. I can't say that I can prove it, but there's just been way too many individuals personally who have told me very compelling stories. And then also in the research, I just think from my satisfaction, I do believe it.
Well, and I believe Socorro. I mean, I looked into Socorro extensively, right? I spent 5 years on and off investigating that case. That was a close encounter of the third kind. In fact, that was one of the most well-documented close encounters of the third kind in U.S. history, right? And then I started sort of looking into the alleged Holloman landing, and I became kind of convinced that happened and that we have film footage of it, which I know also sounds crazy. That was what, 64? Rua, Varginha. I mean,
No, it's just the amount of evidence for the reality of the phenomenon, if we can use that phrase.
Now they're saying it's
I think
there's
it's
evidence.
overwhelming, frankly.
It's overwhelming. Yeah, they both believe.
Relating to a big part of
language. Yeah, they both fucking believe. That wasn't. Unfortunately, they didn't talk about what I had heard before, and it was just basically the story of the neighbor. I think I said talked about it in the space, but we're running out of time, so I won't bore you with it. But this is a cool little. Turn down the volume on this one. This is a cool little man-made, like independently made drone. Check this thing out flying around. It's essentially like a jet engine, vertically tilted, just floating on its side. And again, this is somebody like a hobbyist who made this. Imagine what the United States military might have. Dude, imagine 500 of these things flying in a swarm. Look at that, dude. So many applications for something like that, militarily speaking. And you just pick it up. Wow, that is wild. It's so cool. So cool. Okay, what else do I want to check around here? And I want to get to that Chili Chase thing, because it's another just amazing example of trust me, bro. But we have to talk about this first, because this to me is very interesting. So breaking, and we'll read the whole post here from from Paranormal Chris. Breaking, former UAPTF member says no aliens, video means nothing. Videos are tools for manipulation. On the Anti-Hero podcast, Kurt Mitchell, a retired Special Forces Green Beret, reveals that he worked for the UAPTF. Kurt revealed that the UAPTF was mostly just, quote, and we'll get into the quotes here. We'll listen to the video. Kurt continues on to say that there was no indicator of alien life. From what I saw, from my perspective, what I did see was a lot of prep for a tool of manipulation. And Chris writes, and boom, there you have it, folks. No aliens, just a tool for manipulation from a former member of the UAPTF community himself. And his background is unmatched. Again, we're assuming that this show has done their background on this. This seems to be like a veteran-driven podcast. They talk to other veterans, so making up shit on your resume is usually not something you do on a podcast like this. But he's according to him, retired Chief Warrant Officer, Green Beret, served in the 7th, 11th, 20th Special Forces groups, served with Lieutenant General John F. Mulholland, former Associate Director of Military Affairs at the CIA, worked in clandestine services, UAPTF member from 2001 to 2023, and provided background intel vetting services during UAPTF contributions. Again, this conversation right here wasn't the whole podcast. This is just a little snippet. This guy's got a lot of stuff on his resume. But yeah, this is a very, very interesting moment from a man who claims to have been on the UAPTF. Personally, I believe it. Okay, until someone proves it otherwise. I don't think he's lying. There's no crazy claims in this, but we'll find out. If he's lying, we'll find out. Simple as that. But as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and take his word for it. So let's listen to what he's got to say.
I was on something called the UAP Task Force, and so I'll tell you, you may know this, but...
And again, what is UAP?
Oh, I'm sorry. Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Okay.
Just another word for unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
The aerial phenomena, because it doesn't have to be flying necessarily. But the bottom line is, during my last few years well, first I'll start with this. Especially in the intel community, almost everyone who gets a TS clearance, once they have access to the system stuff,
they go straight for that.
They do. Look at their files. Yeah. And
what can I get into?
Yeah. So, but the bottom line is, there was the whole way I got in was because of my intelligence background. I'm very good at something called vetting. Vetting information. I mean, I'm very good at it. I can get to the root of anything. It's how I managed to get so much good information and pass it on during my time in. But
good to know that. We'll contract you for some future episodes.
Yeah. People do that.
I love it.
Could use some help.
Cool.
It's it's something I do for people.
Okay.
But the bottom line is, that's why I was in there, and not the vetting from the scientific standpoint. There's scientists, engineers, and all these guys are in the task force, and they're looking at the various video sensor data. And
what year is this?
This was 2021, 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just retired last year in 2023, so I was in it the whole time up until retirement. Because it's like a side thing. It's not like your full-time job. You just get in there, you see what's going on, and you put your 2 cents worth in. But for me, it was more just the interest in it. Remember, scientific nerd kid, when I was in high school, astronomy was my thing. As a matter of fact, if I could have been an astronaut, that would have been great. So UFOs interested me. But the more time I spent in and watched the trends of how information is released, just like with the whole COVID thing, I started seeing signs that the UAP thing was being used more and more in what we call a covert influence. The way it was being put out, piecemeal information, it's what we call doing a litmus test, just like with COVID, there's a phrase like safer together,
right?
All these things. So those are little tests that go out and hopefully they catch on like an earworm. And I started seeing the same thing with you. It was more of a testing of the waters. And, people were looking at videos and stuff which mean absolutely nothing. I'm just going to tell you right now, that the stuff you see, the way it's released, and then what I would see on the UAP task force stuff, where guys would look at something and say, okay, well, everybody else is just seeing the visual image. Well, they got multispectral analysis and doing things, and everything looked like it was kind of being developed as a hip pocket. If we ever need 9/11 united the nation, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever need to unite people, or do we ever need to instill fear in people? It was towards that. There was no indicator of any alien life from what I saw. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that from my perspective. What I did see was a lot of prep for something that could be used as a tool for manipulation.
That's called a conspiracy.
Oh.
Turn truth.
I mean, that's... I mean, take that for what you will. I can't argue with the fact that this whole narrative is very manipulative. You saw what happened to our show. Like you guys saw what happened to UCR, most of you anyway. Like it's nothing but manipulation, and that's why I got so angry. That's why I got so upset. Nobody likes to be manipulated with this shit. And to manipulate it to either use it to unite people or instill fear in people. I mean, these again, like the United States is known for running top secret tech all the time over public spaces just to get the reactions to it. And yeah, it wouldn't shock me if a lot of these drone cases and things like that are might be linked to cases like that or situations like that. We're testing things, and we're testing how we can manipulate possibly the masses with it. Because I tell you, man, I don't even want to think about it. And they ended it with this, like, that's what you call a conspiracy theory. And it's true, because it opens up just this whole can of worms of what nefarious things that he might be implying here. And it brushes along sort of the Stephen Greer theories. So that's why I want to be super careful with this. And I would say take it with an absolute grain of fucking salt. But until someone could show that this guy isn't who he says he is, he didn't serve on the UAPTF, I got to take his word for, like, the idea that, yeah, there's no fucking aliens to this. And again, these quotes are here, so we'll go back and read them. Side thing, it's not like a full-time job, Videos mean absolutely nothing. I'm just going to tell you right now, the stuff you see, the way it's released, everything looked at, it was being developed at hip pocket. If we ever need to unite people or instill fear in people, it was towards that. Kirk continues to say that there was no indicator of any alien life from what I saw from my perspective. What I did see was a lot of prep for a tool for manipulation. And again, juxtapose, and I wish I'd had this clip ready, but I have to pull it up. Like, I have to pull it up. Absolutely have to pull it up. Give me one moment, please. Here we go.
Left the Department of Defense, ironically enough, to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
Juxtaposed to this.
Everything looked like it was kind of being developed as a hip pocket. If we ever need 9/11 united the nation, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever need to unite people, or do we ever need to instill fear in people? It was towards that. There was no indicator of any alien life from what I saw. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that from my perspective. What I did see was a lot of prep for something that could be used as a tool for manipulation.
I'm not a UFO guy. I'm not a ufologist. I never have been. I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
That's called a conspiracy.
Manipulation.
That's called
I did see was a lot of prep for something that could be used as a tool for manipulation.
So this clip did not age well for Lou Elizondo. And that's why I leave it up on my channel. And that's why you guys, I wish people would share it every fucking day. Because to me, it tracks. What this guy is saying now tracks with this almost 3-year-old clip. It's 2 years old on my channel. I mean, like...
To the UFO community. Listen to the UFO community.
Wait, are you serious?
Wow.
Left the Department of Defense, ironically enough, to finish the very mission they gave me in the first place. I didn't ask for it. I'm not a UFO guy, not a ufologist.
The Department of Defense gave him a mission.
I never have been, I never will be. I'm not a UFO guy, not a ufologist. I never have been, I never will be. I'm a counterterrorism and counterespionage guy. I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
It's into the UFO.
There you have it. I mean, man, the older this story gets, the more this narrative ages, the more exposed it becomes. It's just absolutely true. The older this ages, it's not like a fine wine. The older this gets, the worse it gets. You got a member of the UAPTF saying that, yeah, this is going to be used for manipulating people on some kind of level. And then you've got this guy 2 years earlier saying, yeah, the Department of Defense sent me into the UFO community, not as a ufologist, but as a counterintelligence and counterinsurgency expert. Dude, counterintelligence, counterinsurgency. That's what I was hired to do in the UFO community.
I do counterintelligence, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. And it just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community. In 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community. That in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community. It so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community. It just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to apply those same skill sets into the UFO community.
So all that shit I was screaming about 2 years ago when this show ended, and I was telling you guys they're manipulating us, they're lying to us, they're using us. It's every single day that passes, I'm more right. And then you got, and then I've got to combat idiots doing movies with crazy people. Dude, it's one of the most thankless jobs on the planet, being a skeptic of this shit. Oh man, you guys, I hope you had a fun experience here at the show. I had fun talking about all of this stuff. I got to get Andres on the show. Next time we're back, we'll talk about this Kelly Chase crash retrieval thing. You know what? Let's just play it real quick right now.
Does the U.S. government have a hidden crash retrieval and reverse engineering program?
Again, Kelly Chase, a sucker of the UFO community, one of these people who is been put up front by people like Sean Cahill and the UAPT, just all the schmucks that we fucking yelled about. She doesn't ask any hard questions. She's got a super popular podcast now. She's leaned into the woo, and she's a her show's called UFO Rabbit Hole, for fuck's sake. And so now she's asking, what's this guy's name again? I don't know. We'll learn.
Yes, I first would state.
Oh wait, sorry. So this is retired staff member of Senate Armed Services Committee.
I believe that they do
and Senate Intelligence Committee and House Intelligence Committee.
This for a long
and he's saying, "Yeah, we got it."
Yes, I first would state that, I believe that they do have both of those things and have pursued this for a long time. Do I know? Do I have confidence about how much progress they've made? Do I know how many crashes have been recovered? Do I have any idea about the status of reverse engineering efforts? Have they actually achieved alien reproduction vehicles, or figured out exactly what the technology is behind the UAP phenomena? No. But we have certainly had credible sources claiming firsthand knowledge and or involvement.
What credible sources? I wonder if it's the same ones we've been talking about for the last 2 years.
That the United States government has had crash recovery programs and reverse engineering efforts, as well as complementary intelligence and counterintelligence activities and operations for decades.
Again, another Trust Me Bro story. Maybe we'll dive into it a little more. I do agree.
Does the U.S. government have
this
a hidden
statement,
crash retrieval and reverse?
Shut up, Kelly. I do agree that statement was a lot better than the entire film, James Fox's film, The Program. But yeah, this was hilarious. I'll end with this. Cosmic Judas retweeted this. It was so funny. Franco added, Jay Anderson is the amalgam of mentally challenged and drug-addicted person. Oh, and the needing of increasing your follower counts on socials may apply as an addiction too. I agree with that. But Jay Anderson wrote, some researchers believe that urine rich in bioactive compounds could play a role in unlocking higher levels of awareness by influencing the body's subtle energy fields. It might even sharpen our perception of phenomena such as the orbs or interdimensional activity. As Proverbs 5:15 advises, drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. That's your UFO fucking guru and leader, Jay Anderson from Project Unity, who follows no one on Twitter and believes he's seen orbs and is special. Anyway, you guys, that's the show. Hope you had a great time. I want to say thank you to everyone in the chat. And yeah, I did mention that I got to get in touch with Andres. We had a really cool conversation in the space just a couple of days ago, which was a lot of fun. And we got to get back and talk about just him and I, because these spaces are just, there's no room to have nuance or real long discussion. Everybody just wants to make a fart joke or play a fucking song or whatever. It's these spaces are always so stupid. But with that said, you guys, hope you enjoyed the show. If you have, you know what to do. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. Want to say thank you to all of you. I truly appreciate it for coming and hanging out. And yeah. Links, everything, all that stuff is down there. Thanks for embarking on the journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for subscribing to Lube Reviews. Until next time, thanks for helping us raise the bar. We'll see y'all later. Peace out. Thank you for watching.